Good evening, everyone. And here we are, 1953 D-roll. This is it right here. I get my little tool so I can get it open. We got all of our names piled up right here, ready to go. How is everybody? Eric Beyer, Paul Hampton, Xander, Farm Dog, Hawkeye. Sorry I turned out just a little bit on the late side. Just a couple of minutes. But I'm here, ready to go. This is a 1953 D-roll again. I think this one's going to be a good one for us. I'm hoping it turns out to be positive for everybody. We're in need of some good rolls. We've had some good ones, but we're in need of more good ones. All of them good. Hey Adam, hey Joe. I got these notifications going out. Go a little bit slow here, getting the roll open. As soon as I'm ready, we're going to get going. I wasn't able to do this earlier, so I scheduled it for now, which means it's going to be too late when I get this one done to get into the 54D roll. So we'll do that tomorrow. So there's our roll. Look like pretty decent coins. Let me get my names in the bag. We've almost got ourselves set up to a point where I'll be ready to use my brand new microscope to do this. But it's still a little questionable right now. Hello, John Argent. Andrew O'Neill. Live video and all, huh? Hello, Paul. Scott Hall. All right, here is coin number one, Techstar. Techstar is going to get coin number one. Let's see what we got for coin number one. Now, the 53D, there is a very elusive RPM that I would love to find in this roll, because I would like to have photographs of a nice one. I haven't seen one yet, but it has a D protruding up out of the vest, west of the D mint mark. So we got to be watching for that. Looking for anything double die obverse, double die reverse, although they're not going to be easy to find. RPMs tend to be the main push for a 1953 D roll. There's a little bit of paper fiber stuff on the coin. Other than that, it seems like we're doing okay. We got one spot over here. A little bit of coin counter scraping, as this was on the outside of the roll. We don't have a double die, and we don't have an RPM, so we're going to move on. Techstar getting coin number one there. And here's coin number two. This one goes to Bill 457. This new microscope I got is a monster. I just got to figure out exactly how to make it do what I want it to do, so I can do that without worrying about it messing up while I'm trying to do a video. I didn't want to take that chance. So far, it seems to be okay, except that it's the video feed on it is not live like this little camera is. Ooh, look at that! There's big old die gouges down there, huge die gouges. Got nothing on the obverse. Let's take a look at the reverse and see if there was anything on the reverse of this. The die with the huge die gouges at the bottom of the design on the obverse has nothing going on the reverse except maybe a little bit of cracked die on the T. Hey, coin junkie. So that's Bill 457. Coin number 2. Move on to coin number 3. Shannon McCord. Oof, a big spot on this one. Icky. And we do have, we do have a nice RPM as well. So we have a nice RPM, but let me move in a little bit. Take a better look at this. Move in. Oh yeah. Nice double split serif repunchment mark here. Okay, we're going to call this one die number 1 for the roll. We're going to have to go around and take a look at other areas where there could be markers. Okay, there's some die scratches. Yeah, what is that thing? Is that a die gouge? Would that be something that would come out that convenient for us? Yep, that's a die gouge. Really nice die gouge just below the mint mark. Mint mark is centered and placed just a little bit high. Let's check everything else to see if there's anything else going on with this coin. I hate the fact there's a big spot on this one, but sometimes that's just how they come. Unfortunately, you get spots on a couple of coins in a roll. Alright, so that's coin number 3. Shannon McCord. I'm going to be doing die number 1 for the roll on this particular coin. Set it off to the side as an RPM, and let's do coin number 4. Coin number 4 will be for Mr. Worley. And Mr. Worley's coin is another RPM. It is not the same die. This is a different die. So it also has that ghost doubling on the 3. You can see it at this angle right here that you can see a little bit of raised area on the right side of the 3. That's die wear. As this is a pretty late die state coin. Well, let's take a look around for some markers and see what we can see. Try to find something to help us match this up with another coin. Hey, looky there. We've got a decent one there. There's a big giant die dot right in the middle of your screen between the forehead and the S of trust. We can use that as a marker. That's a nice sized die dot there. See if there might be something that's all that much larger, easier to see. There's a tiny die crack above VDB, but that's not going to be easily usable. That die dot up there would be really usable. It's right there in the middle of your screen. So we'll take that. That's going to be die number 2 for the roll. Die number 2 for the roll. Another RPM, a little bit different from the first one. Those little die dots, you might ask how those happen. Well, a lot of times it's a little grit and stuff that gets struck into the die and that damages the die slightly. Anytime you damage that die, well, anything that's been damaged into the die is going to show up in all the coins that are struck by that die from that point forward. So Shannon's going to get coin number 5. This one's a little higher than the other ones, so it's probably not going to be an RPM. Let's see. Nope, not an RPM here. All right. Nothing on that side. Let's take a look at the other side. Yep, nothing there either. Jax will take what off? The spot? Yeah, it probably will. It'll take half the coin with it, won't it? Get Shannon in there. Deanne is next, coin number 6. And this is coin number 6 in the roll. Let's see, what do we have here? Just another 1953 D Lincoln cent. Is this the one with the die gouges? No, it's not. This one has a long die crack running across the bottom of the truncation of the bust, or above VDB. It's got a large die crack running across the head too. Nice sized die crack there. Let's see if we have anything doubled. It's going to be die wear underneath the L. There's nothing else on here on the obverse, so we're going to take a look at the reverse and see what we can find there. I'm going to say probably nothing. Okay. Yeah, we found nothing. So let me move on to coin number 7. Coin number 6 with DN. And coin number 7 will belong to Joe McBride. Joe gets this coin right here. Looks like another regular 1953 D. That's the same die we just looked at. There should be die cracks running across the head. And there are. I think this is the same die we just looked at. Let's take a look at the reverse now. I hope everybody's staying in and staying safe. If it's not one thing, it's another. So we had COVID to worry about, and now we've got people protesting and rioting and looting. Protesting, we've got nothing to worry about. Protesters are protesters. Those people are just fine. It's the criminals that come in after the protesters just to take advantage of the situation that I have a problem with, a real problem. Ah, there we go. There's another die 1 for the roll. Die 1 for the roll has a nice double split sheriff RPM, and it has that little die gouge running just below the D to the vest. And this will be another one. We'll go to Marshall. One day you'll learn how to get in on this. All you have to do is be at the auction on Tuesday evenings. Tuesday evenings we do a regular auction at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's tomorrow. 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we do an auction. At the end of the auction, I sell spots in these roll reveals. I've got, I think, 8 of them coming up this next week. I've got this one and one tomorrow, and then after the reveal tomorrow, we'll do the auction. I think I've got 8 of them coming up this next week that we're going to sell. We've got some rather inexpensive ones, 61D, 58D, 55D, 58 Philadelphia. And we've got 70S, we've got 45D, 55S, and 37D. We've got a 1937 DB roll here. We're going to open it up next week. Well, not next week. Sometime this coming weekend. Coin's a little spotty. It's a normal 53D. And that one's for Techstar. Let's get out coin number 10 now. Coin number 10 will go to DN. And DN will end up with... it looks like another normal coin. Yep, this one's got the big die gouges under the bust. So we've seen this die. Big die scratch from the 9 to the chin, or to the throat area. So this doesn't have any doubling on it because we've already seen an example of this particular die pair. And this die pair to date has had nothing on it, so it's not going to have anything on it because, well, doubling happens before the die is ever hung on the press to make coins. So given that doubling happens prior to the die ever being hung on the press, it actually happens when the die is created. So every coin struck with a particular double die or repunch mint mark die is going to have that exact same double die or repunch mint mark on it. Every single coin. That's really how you can tell the difference between a die variety and a die error. Die errors like cuds, clashes, things like that, those happen during the process of striking coins. So if you have a cud, you have a coin struck by a broken die that at one point in time was not broken. When it was not broken, it was not striking cuds. Hello, Mr. Pruitt and Donna Mac. So now all of you really know a little bit more than you did before if you didn't know there was a difference between a die variety and an error. A die variety has doubling on it, generally a double die or repunch mint mark, over mint mark, repunch date, over date. Your double dies are broken down into a double die obverse and a double die reverse. And that's basically the family of... Ooh, we got a nice little RPM going on here. Especially on the top serif. You can see some nice doubling on the top serif. I'll blow this one up so we can see it better, just to give you the opportunity to take a look at it before I move on. See what I can do with it there. Now, that lighted area is lighted on the top of the secondary serif, but I'm not really easily able to get the split to show up with the direction of lighting I have here. But you can see what I'm talking about, though. And then the lower serif is also split. That angle coming off the corner of the D tells you that there's a doubled serif there, because it's not supposed to be angled like that. There's not supposed to be a big, large, rounded area that has just a tiny bit of a notch in it. You're not supposed to see that. That's not supposed to be there. So that makes this a repunch mint mark. This one I don't think we've seen before. I think this is a new one to the list for the day. I think there's a third D here. There's a third set of serifs there, it looks like. You've got the doubled serifs, and then you've got serifs to the southwest. That's interesting. You can see a couple of protrusions coming out of the mint mark to the west and south. So that could be something very interesting indeed. I'll have to look it up later and see what I can figure out with it. But that's going to be a die pair number 3 for the roll. So we have 3 different repunch mint marks so far in this one roll. And you guys know as well as I do, for the people who've been following this show, when we open an original roll, we usually get more than one of the same thing. Usually. I did caveat that, because we have found only one of die varieties before. But with this one, it's going to be multiples. I can feel it. Sure, maybe I need to pee or something, but I can feel it. Okay, what do we have here? Pardonnez-moi français, s'il vous plaît. Don't have anything on the obverse on this one. Not a repunch mint mark, not a double die obverse. And it is apparently not a double die reverse. So we'll put this one in our pile of normal coins for Paul Hampton. And here's coin number 14. It's going to go to Randy. Randy's coin number 14 is an RPM. That is a repunchment mark. It's one of the die number 3 coins, because you can again see what appears to be extra serifs poking out of the west side of the left side of the RPM. So, as I'm noticing, there's a few little stains and spots on these coins. None of them are gem status coins. They appear to be decent choice coins. It should be an MS63 to 64 red. But this one, yeah, this one is die number 3. It's RPM. I'm not sure it's been listed. It may be, but I'll look it up later, figure it out. And if we don't have good photos of any of these dies that we're finding here, this is a large D. This one's a little bit different from the others. There's a small D and a large D. And this is a large D. And if we don't have photos of any of the double dies that we're finding, the RPMs or double dies that we would find in this roll, I will definitely photograph them. And when I do photograph them, the photographs of your coin will be used on coppercoins.com. And if photos of your coin are used on coppercoins.com, your coin will be marked as a plate coin. Plate coin meaning that photographic plates were made of your coin to use on coppercoins.com. You'll get a special flip insert that says it's a plate coin, plus you'll get my signature on it. So if you send it into NX to have it graded, they will annotate for you, possibly at an extra fee. Hey, look at that. There's another die number 1. Die number 1's very recognizable by that huge die gouge coming out of the front of the vest. But they will recognize that your coin is a plate coin and actually put it on the slab label for you. Plate coins generally have a little bit of extra market value simply because there are people who like to participate in the special part of getting a coin that was actually used in a reference guide. You probably got 10,000 of these RPMs that people are going to find at some point in the future, and your photos, the photos of your coin, are the ones that are used on the website. Hello, Steve. All right, Paul Hampton goes next. Paul Hampton will get coin number 17. Now we've got 3 different dies running. We're doing a pretty good job with them. Here's another die 1. Another die 1 for the roll. So it looks like we're going to end up with 3 different, possibly more different RPMs. And this one's for Paul Hampton. Next coin will go to Shannon McCord. And Shannon McCord will pick up. Yeah, looks like a normal coin. Yep, this one's going to be a normal coin. No repunchment mark. No double die obverse. Can look at the reverse and see if there's anything on the reverse. No. No double die reverse either. So we have ourselves effectively a normal coin for Shannon McCord. That's coin number 18 in the roll. We're going to move on to coin number 19. Take a look at that one. Coin number 19 will go to Joel McBride. Mr. McBride is going to get, this is the large D. I'm going to show you the difference. Pull out coin number 18 here because I know it's a small D. I don't know. There hasn't really ever been a study done on these 2 different mint marks to find out if either one or which one is less common than the other. But this is a coin I just showed you. See how large and round the mint mark looks? And then this one looks a little smaller. So this one's a little bit smaller. See, the highest relief area is kind of small. You move back over here. It's quite a bit bigger. So this is the large mint mark, and this is the small mint mark. And I don't know that there's any difference in value between the two. But I just thought I would let you know that they do exist. There are a large and small mint mark for 1953D. Take a better look at this one here real quick and see if it's got a split in the serif. No, it doesn't. So it's a normal one. I'm going to go ahead and stick the other coin back into the holder with Shannon's name. And then we'll flip this large D over and take a look. I told you people, you come here, you come in, you take your seat, get comfortable, because you're going to learn something here. If I don't teach you something, I'm not doing my job. So that will be coin number 19 for Joe McBride. There's nothing on this particular coin. I've not found an RPM on a large mint mark yet today. Of course, the two coins that we've seen so far might have both been from the same die pair. What do we have here? Well, it's another one of the normal smaller mint marks. I don't have anything going on this coin. Doesn't look like there's anything special going on here. We have a little bit of browning on this one. This is the one that's got the die crack on the head. So it should have a die crack on the shoulder. I don't really see it though. Maybe this is just a different die. Hello, Starbuck. I'm doing great, man. I got my new microscope in today. When we get finished with this roll, I might play with it for a little while and see if I can actually get it to show up well. Do a live presentation. Yeah, most people don't know about the 53 mint marks being different sizes, but you can see them. I mean, it's not like they're hard to detect like the 70S small date is. They're actually really easy to detect the difference. Jeff Dunn now. Jeff Dunn, coin number 21. We have an RPM. Houston, we have an RPM. This one's going to be a die number 2, I think it was. Yeah, die number 2, because die number 3 has the depressions that make the third D. So it's not die 1. And it has to be die number 2. Now, there's a nice little marker. But what do we use as a marker for die number 2? Because die number 1 had the vest mark, the gouge coming out of the vest. And die number 3, oh, wait a minute. Die number 2 had the, did it have the dot between the forehead and the S? Trying to remember now what we used for die number 2, because this one may be a new one altogether. It may not match die number 2. Let me get our die number 2 coin out and look at these side by side. This is James Worley, not Joe Worley. We have one Joe and 3 Jameses, so they're kind of hard to get separated from one another. Okay, this is really close to the mint mark. Mint mark really close to the date. A very close proximity to the 9 and the 5. And this one's a little bit further away. So it is definitely not the same die. So this is a new die for this roll. I'm flipping back and forth so I can see for sure that I'm saying the right thing. And is the marker, yeah, the marker on die number 2 was this die dot between the forehead and the S. So this one's going to be a new die. It's going to be die number 4 for this roll. Die number 4 for this roll. Coin number 21, Jeff Dunn. Let's flip it over and take a look at the reverse real quick and see if we come up with anything on the reverse that needs to be discussed. A rather late die state coin. You can tell that by all of the flow lines that are running out toward the rim, disturbing the clarity of the design. Those flow lines actually cause this luster. They cause the appearance. If you'll look, you'll see that the light moves when you move the coin. And it moves because these are all little tiny canyons, little itsy bitsy canyons next to each other. And you got sunrise and sunset on these little canyons. One side of the canyon is lit when the light's coming from one direction. The other side of the little canyon's lit when the light's coming from the opposite direction. So when you light one side of a whole bunch of canyons that are nearly parallel to one another, and then you turn those canyons, that light's not going to look the same. You move your light or you move the canyons, either way. It's going to change the appearance. And that's what you're doing when you're moving a coin around that has luster. What is luster? Luster is all of these little tiny canyons, these little lines that you see on the coin. It's a natural part of striking the coin. That's luster. Luster comes with die wear. What is die wear? Die wear is the actual wear on the die that you see as the die strikes coins. The more coins the die strikes, the more wear it has. And if you take a really good close look at the tops of these letters and just get a mental picture of what you're looking at, look at the clarity and the sharpness of them. You see a little tiny light-colored line that runs along the top of these, and that little light-colored line is just the change in elevation going down the side of the letter and then flattening back out to the rim, to the field. So look at how sharp the outside edges of these letters are. You see that they've got just a little bit of a feather. You see that feathering going outward like they're almost bursting light toward the rim. That's just a little bit of die wear. This is a mid-die state coin, mid-die state obverse. Here's the reverse. I'll take a look at it real quick. You see how much longer these lines are? Yeah, that's a late die state. So we have a mid die state obverse and a late die state reverse with a bunch of very characteristic die scratches. Those die scratches would help us identify something if this was anything to be identified, but it isn't. This one happens to be a normal coin. So we will take a look at the next coin. This is Chuck Patillo's coin number 22. Going now for coin number 23. It's also going to be Chuck Patillo. Just happened to draw his name out twice, right in a row. Is this one of our RPMs? No, sir. It is not one of the RPMs. This is a later die state coin than the other, so it'll be a good example to use. When I get up to the top and show you those letters, I want you to notice how much more fuzz there is on the outside edge of those letters. You see that? That fuzz that you see on the outside edge of the letters is die wear. And die wear specifically shows the age of the die. You notice that your die flow lines, your little canyons here, are a lot deeper and a lot longer. That's because that's molecules of steel actually moving outward on the surface of the die as it strikes coins. Hello, Scott, Donna Mac, everybody. Hey, John L. Man, I don't know any of you people, and I'm glad. I'm not glad that I don't know you, but I'm glad that you're showing up. I'm glad that you're here. I make all of you mods on the channel. Just don't do anything. I'm just going to make you mods so that we will know that you guys are good people, because we have had a problem with people who are not good people coming in here and disrupting everything. And one of the main ways that they disrupt everything is they will come in and hack your name and steal your name and use your name against you. I don't know how they do it. I don't really care. But I know that, for instance, hello, Mr. Eubanks. See, Mr. Eubanks has a wrench next to his name, so I know that's the real Mr. Eubanks. Well, if it turns up that we get a James Eubanks that comes in here and he's got gray letters on his name, I know it's a troll and I can immediately ban him from the channel. That's how that works. Xander's watching quietly. Xander got active in the auction last night. Xander, are you going to be at the auction tomorrow? There's a die number 1 again. Die number 1 for the roll, meaning that we've got that really heavy die gouge coming out of the vest. Got a few spots on this one, but this is a nice RPM. And just by looking at it, now you can tell that this is an earlier die state coin simply because the outer edges of the letters near the rim are very nicely shaped. They don't have a lot of feathering. You'll also notice that there aren't a lot of die flow lines and they aren't very deep. Might be done by that time. Well, I would love to see you. You're one of the family now. You found your way here. You joined up. And now you're part of the family. Now when you don't show up, I'm going to be wondering if Xander is okay. It's right after this COVID thing broke out. I was sending people messages and sending people emails and all kinds of stuff asking them if they were okay. Want to make sure everybody was okay. All right, that is a die 1. I do believe I said that was a die 1. It is. There's our big giant die gouge right there. Yes, I adopted you, Xander. And you didn't have a choice. You're part of my family now. Farm dog. But all the other people here are part of my family, and they will probably tell you they don't have a whole lot of complaints. That's probably just one of the normal dies. And it is. Got no doubling on that. You hope I'm getting out to get some fresh air? Why do I sound loopy? I'm getting out getting fresh air every day. I have a dog to walk. And we walk the whole neighborhood 3, 4, 5 times a day. Check for a double eyelid on that coin. Okay. I'll do that, Adam. This is that same coin coming back down. I do not see an eyelid there. Do I have a mask? You asking me if I have a mask? Yes, I have a mask. I rarely wear it because I rarely go anywhere. I mean, I walk the neighborhood, but nobody cares if you're wearing a mask inside the neighborhood. We just don't smooch each other outside. Hawkeye's next. Hawkeye gets coin number 26. We are officially halfway through the roll. We've got ourselves some pretty nice stuff in the first half of the roll. Let's just see if the second half carries through. Another regular small D, 1953 D. I'm guessing that the small D is the more normal and more common type, because I've seen a number of rolls of 53D, and it's not very often that you run across the large Ds. Who are we talking about as in him? You talking about me? Do I look that bad, Andy? I'm just a big boy. Is Bulldog here? Hey, Bulldog, how you doing, buddy? I didn't see Bulldog come in. I just saw Farm Dog say, hey, Bulldog. So we got the dogs in the house now. Storms are coming. Get the dogs in the house. This one looks like it's probably going to be a die number 3. What was die number 3? What was our... Trying to remember what our marker was for it now. This could be an all different die altogether. Could be. I think this one's altogether different. There's a little bit of damage on the die to the west of the 1, just left of the 1, over by the vest. We're going to take note of that, call that our marker for this, and call it a new die. So we're going to go to a die number 4. Nothing on the obverse, or nothing on the reverse, I'm sorry. Not the obverse. The obverse has a repunch mint mark. The reverse has nothing. So that's going to be a die number 4. And I do believe we already had a die number 4, and I stuck it back in the coins, back in the regular coins. So I'm definitely going to be going through this roll again. That's for sure. I go through every roll twice. Here's another one of our little large D's. And I'm not seeing anything on it. I got to flip it around here. Yeah, it might be a split upper serif. Yep, that is a little tiny split upper serif. I'm not going to call that one because I had to turn the coin all the way around just to see it. Just not really there enough. Booyah, Bulldog got himself noticed. Marine. We know Marines are good. They make a hell of a decoy in war. Three head die cracks across the head. Was that what that was? Let me take a look at one of these. This is a number 3 right here. We do have some die cracks across the head. But I'm thinking there was something else that we used on this die to delineate it from the others. To differentiate it from the others, I'm sorry. Did we not have a different marker that we were using? Well, there is a little die scratch up in the hair, so that helps. That little die scratch up in the upper hair, under the E of we, that helps. And then we've got the 2 die cracks on the head. So that'll help us for sure in determining that we're going to see this one over and over again, hopefully. Don't have any big die gouges or anything that'll help us out. All right, then. Scott, hang around. You'll learn more. All right, T2 is going to get coin number 29. This is going to be coin number 29 for T2. And for those of you who have not visited before, you will know that I do a lot of chitter chatter about the different coin numbers and stuff like that. It's because they're all markers that I can use to go back and watch the video again in case I need to. so that I can match up a coin or something to that effect, or know what I said about the coin while I was looking at them. This one's going to be a normal one. I don't see anything on this one. To me, a smaller mint mark too. So just get used to it. That's a smaller mint mark. $1952D also has two different mint marks. But not 51 or 54. 51 and 54, they only use one mint mark those years. That's coin number 29 for Thomas. Now here's another one for Thomas. Let's see if we can find him an RPM this time. And we do. We do have an RPM here. This one, wow, this one looks different. It has a nice split on the upper serif. Does it have damage to the left of the 1? No. Does it have the marker? No. I'm thinking this is another new die. I hope this doesn't turn into be another 1949S roll. That 49S roll was painful. Well, this is definitely an RPM. I'm going to have to pull it out, but I don't see anything that matches up with any of the markers that we already had. This one's going to have a die scratch going northeast off of the 9 of the date, off the top of the 9 of the date. That is a die scratch. It's an old one. It's got age on it, meaning that it has die flow lines running through it, and it's been worn down quite a bit, but the depression is still there. You can still see the hint that the die scratch is there. Yet another difference between die scratches and die cracks. Die cracks just grow with time, but they don't wear down. The reason they don't wear down is because they're actually a crack in the die. A die scratch is only a surface mark in the die, and so as that die continues to strike coins, die scratches go away. Yeah, that RPM with the die gouge below the mint mark, that's a nice one. Oh, you know what? Die number 3 also had, it was a tripled RPM. So this one can't be die number 3 because it's not tripled. Yeah, the tripled RPM at die number 3. This is die number 3 again. I keep using this coin as my example. But you can see, as I turn the coin here, you can see an extra upper serif and an extra lower serif to the west-southwest. So definitely a different die. So now we've got 5 different dies. 5 different dies that we're looking for in this particular roll at this point. Probably going to go to just stacking them in a stack unless I know right off which one they are, because once we get past 5, I start getting confused. This is die number 1 again. This is one Dennis likes. It's got that big, giant die gouge below the mint mark. Makes it really easy to figure out what it is. We also know by having found this die over and over again and finding other dies over and over again, we have die number 3 that has been duplicated a few times. We know that we got an original roll here. Original roll, meaning that the 50 coins come out of a bin from the U.S. Mint around the time that they were struck. They go into bags. They go into bags of 5,000 coins, and then they're sent someplace to be rolled. The United States Mint back in these days never rolled coins. They didn't have coin rollers at the mint. They had canvas bags, and they sewed everything up in canvas bags and generally sent them off to the Fed Reserve. That's where they would either be sold to banks or rolled by the Fed Reserve banks before they're sold. One or the other. Oh, there's another one. Oops, there goes another die one. Okay, I've never been hired to sing. There's good reason for that. Alright, let's take a look at the reverse on this one. It's a nice shiny coin. It's a little bit different from some of the other ones that we've run into that have been toned down just a little bit, and that's usually a sign that they've been stored in heat and cold like an attic. That tends to exhaust the red on the surface of the coin, over-oxidize it. Oxides are what cause copper to turn brown, or air. A lot of people call it. But these coins, a lot of these coins are still really nice. There's another large mint mark. You guys can't tell me you don't see the difference. I mean, it's obviously there. If you need a little bit of helper on the large mint mark, the top part of the mint mark, right up at the very top of the mint mark, is very thin on all of them. The bottom is thicker than the top. That's the large mint mark for you. The small mint mark is usually thick on the top and bottom. So they just look different. It looks like letters that were written in different kinds of handwriting. They're just completely different from one another. Got no hub doubling here. Hub doubling, double dies. Same difference. Hub doubling is the effect of creating a double die. A double die is a noun. Hub doubling is a verb, past tense verb, or I don't remember exactly what the part of speech is called, but it's a past participle, past perfect, past something. Because hub doubling occurs when a double die is created. Somebody out there is an English teacher. This guy always knew I didn't want to be an English teacher when I was younger. I didn't want to have to learn all those parts of speech and exactly how they all fit together and everything. And then what did I do? I went in the military. I learned to speak German. I learned to speak Turkish. I learned to speak Arabic. I learned Spanish. With the different languages that you have to speak, well, they all have parts of speech, and they all have grammar, and they all have things that you have to know, rules and stuff like that. This is another RPM. This one, oh wait, this is the die with the big gouges. And if it's an RPM, then I have skipped some. Let's see if it is indeed an RPM. It might be. I think it is. Is that RPM, folks? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? I think it might be an RPM. Looking at the upper serif. See if there's a split in that upper serif. I'm thinking there is. Yeah, and that means that all of the coins that I have put away that had this huge set of die gouges right here, those are all big giant die gouges that look like bars of gold stacked up on one another. All of those are going to have to come back out because they're actually RPMs. So there we have another die. Die gouge, not a double die lid. It's too thin. Doesn't show any body to it. It looks like a scratch. It barks like a scratch, so it's a scratch. Double die lids don't look like that. Double die lids are kind of round, kind of oblong. They have body. There's something going on that you can see. This is a double die lid. It's 1944. You see all that stuff in there? That's all double die lid. That's what a double die lid looks like. Not a genius, Donna. Not a genius. But I did spend the night in Holiday Inn Express last night. It's kind of one of those things where if you do the same thing over and over again enough times, you're bound to learn something. And if you retain what you learn, and you can spit that back out in some intelligible format that someone else can actually understand, makes you a teacher. Now I know that they've got classes to teach you how to be a teacher, and that's all nice and dandy. But there are natural teachers who just understand that if you speak clearly, you give people specific instructions, speak clearly, and you make sure you give positive reinforcement when they learn something, you're a teacher. You don't need a class for it. Oh, that 44 is a good coin for an auction? No, I got good coins for auctions, people. Some of these coins are going to flip you over tomorrow. I got some nice coins for auction. All right, Thomas gets a coin. That's all I can promise. Yomangul. Very first coin ever for Yomangul. Let's wish him luck. And we do have an RPM. This one appears that it's going to be a die number 2. I'm right. It is a die number 2. Look, there's our marker. So this is a repeat of die number 2. This is the first one that is a repeat of die number 2. So that is a rather scarce die in this roll. That doesn't mean that it's a scarce die. It just means that it's scarce in this roll. I have found examples of some of the most scarce RPMs ever and found 8 or 10 of them in a roll. And then I've had very common RPMs become totally elusive to me for many years. So you can't determine much of anything scientific using one roll of coins. Here's Bill 457. Bill 457 for coin number 38. It's a large mint mark. See, the top is real thin. Definitely large mint mark. And for my next trick, I'll need an assistant. Who will be my assistant for my next trick? Don't all stand up at once now. Anyone? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to pick you, Donna, because, well, you're not going to stand up and volunteer. The dog. Which dog? The farm dog or the bulldog? All right, Donna, you're the one who answers this question. Paul Hampton's going to get this coin, but Donna, I want you to tell me if this is a large or a small mint mark. Is it a large or a small mint mark? Got to learn sometime. The bulldog. Well, I picked Donna because Bulldog didn't say anything, so I'm waiting for Donna to tell me if this is a large or a small mint mark. She's right. Small mint mark. Good going. See, now you've learned something for good. Now it's been pounded into your skull and you're not going to forget. I love that. More stuff we can get pounded into our skulls, the smarter we are. And the smarter we are, the more we see what's going on in the world right now as being very weird and unusual. Because it seems like all the smart people went inside and the only people left outside are the, well, not so smart people. Aha. Large and small date 1974 Lincoln cents. Yeah, most people don't even know they exist. They don't even know the difference. And it's not that hard to tell the difference. And it's right there in the date. It's pretty simple to see. But you just got to know what to look for. If you go to thecentproject.com, make sure you put that word "the" in the beginning of it. It's thecentproject.com. We're working on a count of 1/100th of the entirety of Lincoln cents in circulation at this time. We're trying to sort them all out by date and mint mark and report back to a central person, that would be me, how many of each date and mint mark you find. So you tell me how many of each date and mint mark you find, and I stick it in the centralized data, and eventually we'll get another 40,000 people to do the same thing, and we will have sorted and counted 1/100th of all of the pennies and change. What does that do? Well, it helps us to determine what is actually scarce out there, what is actually common. Are a large majority of the copper Lincoln cents from 1982 on back, are they gone? Or are there still a lot of them out there? Now, this is another RPM, it appears. It is another RPM. It looks like a die number 2. I think it's another die number 2. It is not another die number 2, so this is going to be a different one. Does this have the... It does. It has the die scratch coming up off the 9 of the date, and that's going to be die number 5, I believe. So we're going to look at die number 5. Yeah, just go to thecentproject.com. You take a look there, you're going to find out that there's a 1960 large date and small date. You'll see pictures of those right next to each other. 1970 S large and small date. You'll learn how to tell those apart from one another. And the 1982 large and small date. You'll tell how to find those apart from one another. And there's a really, really simple way of being able to tell whether you have a copper or a zinc 1982 penny. Also have the 1974 large and small date. But you can also download forms that you can use in counting, sorting and counting a box or multiple boxes of pennies, and you don't have to get them by the box. We're just looking for a count of $25 worth. Call it a box. And you could do 1, 5, 10, 20, however many you want to do. We're going to stop at the end of September. At the end of September, we're going to start compiling the data, putting it into the database, and then I'm going to invite a panel of experts to get together and discuss the data that's been collected and what queries we could run on that data to come out with useful scientific results. Population and circulation of every different date and issue will be known. So to give us a really good idea of what we're looking for, Mr. Marshall will get this coin. Unfortunately, it appears that we have a normal 1953D on our hands here. Well, it's not really on our hands because that would turn it. I'm being careful not to put it on my hands. This one could actually be a bar L. Bar L meaning doubled bottom of the L in Liberty. I don't see any other sign of that form of doubling on this coin. I'll hold it out and we'll check and see. I'll flip it over and take a look at the other side. I'm not really seeing anything here that appears to be doubled. So we're going to take this coin, we're going to put it in holder number 43 for Mr. Marshall. I'll stick it off to the side thinking that it may be a die variety. Eric Beyer goes next. Eric Beyer will get this coin, and this coin is going to be a normal one, I do believe. Or maybe it might be another one of those that I thought was a bar L. I don't know. Is there die damage below the R on the other coin? Let's take a look real quick. There is die damage below the R on this coin. You can see a little crescent looking thing going from left to right, but then down below the upper stem of the R you can see this little bit of die damage. There's another one over here next to the Y, below the Y. There's some other things going on. There's a die crack running across the shoulder and one across the VDB. So we can take a look at our other coin now. Now I do believe we have another one of the same die. Focus back out on this one. And there's our die. There's our die cracks that we were looking for. There's your damage under the Y. There's your damage under the R. So this is definitely the same die. So let's take a look at the reverse and see if we have anything to discuss on the reverse of this one. Sometimes my discussion comes up simply because I see something that reminds me that I should probably talk about it. If I'm going to teach it, I need to talk about it. So that's Eric Beyer. He's going to get another coin of the same die that Mr. Marshall had. Now I'm going to figure out by looking under the big microscope whether or not we have a real double die there or something that can be listed. If it can't, I'll just take it off the list and send you the coin. If it can, I'll get it listed for you. Take photographs of the best one. This is a die number 2 here. This one has the little die chip thingy. It's a little die damage, a dot between the forehead and the S. So it's another die number 2. That's going to be our third one for the roll. So we have a rather smattering of dies in this particular roll that don't repeat often, but they do repeat. Here's Joe McBride. So that's a die number 2 for Joe McBride. Let's see who gets the next coin. It's going to be Farm Dog. It's going to be the other dog. And this one is not an RPM. Not a double die. Unless it's one of those. Now see, that's another one of those right there. You can see the damage under the R. It's the exact same thing. Repeats over and over again. That must be on the die. If it's on the die, it's going to repeat with every coin it strikes. It's kind of like a fingerprint. You push your thumb into a piece of soft clay, it's going to come out with your fingerprint on it. Well, you do that 100 times, it's not going to change your fingerprint. Your fingerprint's going to stay the same. You're going to have 100 impressions of the exact same thumbprint. That's kind of what happens when they strike coins. The same marks over and over and over again. This one is appears to be not an RPM. Not an RPM, not a double die. Is not the bar L die. This is a die 1. No, sir. Not a die 1. That thing that you saw under the date was a hair or a fiber of some sort. Not a die number 1. Now we move on to the reverse. That's an earlier reverse. It's a mid-die state reverse. The reason I call mid-die state an earlier die state, well, it's because very early die state only gets 0.2% of all the strikes from a die. Then your early die state is fewer than 5%. Then your mid-die state is another 10%. Then you get to late die state and you're talking about 40%. And then the remainder belongs to very late die state. So dies age a little more quickly than you might imagine with the names given to them. There's 7 different known dye states, as written in a study by Delma K. Romines. The late Delma Romines wrote a study book on dye state and how it affects the design of coins and how many coins that you get from each dye pair. He wrote that study back in 1989, and he published about a dozen copies of it. You're not going to find it unless you happen to know one of the dozen people who got a copy of it and would give you theirs. You're not getting mine. Delma passed away in the early 1990s. His study is still out there. I'm considering trying to contact his family and republish his study. Here we go, Donna. That's a large mint mark right there. Is it not? I think it is. A large mint mark for Donna. Of course, Farm Dog's going to end up with this coin. That's right. That's the big one. That's the big one. Alright, let's take a look at the reverse and see what we come out with on the reverse. This one's a little bit of a stained up spotty coin. It is coin number 49 in the roll. We only have one coin left. This one's going to Farm Dog. It's one of the large mint marks, so it doesn't have anything on it. Now, I'm not saying large mint marks don't have anything on them. I'm just saying the ones in this roll don't have anything on them, so that's one of the markers that tells me I can skip over them for this roll. Marshall will get the last coin in the roll. This is the last coin in the roll, and it's another large mint mark, but it does have a minor split upper serif. So there may be 2 different large mint mark dies in this roll, and I think I've already figured that out. So this one's going to be an RPM. We're going to end up having to go back through the roll again, which I have already told you I'm going to do, and we're going to be looking for large mint marks so that we can see the split upper serifs. Let's take a look at the reverse on this one. The reverse on this one very quickly. This is the side that was exposed out to the air, which is why all the stains and colors and other things. I don't know if you're a he or a she, Mr. or Mrs. Rojas. There's not really ever been a study performed on the large and small mint marks of the 1953D, but I'm kind of thinking they're both common. So some of the time you're going to get one, some of the time you're going to get the other. Sometimes when you open an original roll, it'll be more populated with one than the other. So this is die number 1. This is coin number 32, number 31, number 24, number 17, number 16, number 8, number 3. I'll flip it over and I'll show you who they belong to. Shannon, Marshall, Adam, Paul Hampton, Eric Beyer, and James Worley. That's die number 1 for the roll. Die number 2 for the roll. We've got Mr. Worley, Yoman Gul, and Joe McBride. That's going to be coins number 45, 37, and number 4. We got die number 3. We have 2 examples of that. It's going to be number 14 and number 12. Those belong to Mr. Worley and Randy. Then we've got die number 4, which I'm not certain that it's not the same as another one, but that's going to be Deang, coin number 27. And what I have so far for die number 5 is number 30 and number 41. Now this is the one that I know that I'm going to find more of them in the roll, but there's Steve A. and Thomas. And then the bar L, or perceived bar L at this point in time, is coins number 43, 44, and 46. Those belong to Eric Beyer, Marshall, and Farm Dog. Now, that all of these are going to end up listed, I cannot tell you right now. It's going to take additional study, and the additional study is going to happen with my other microscope. Given that it's my other microscope, if anyone wants to hang around and watch me practice and play with it, I just got this microscope today. So this will be the first time I've actually broadcast with this microscope. So if you want to hang around, I'm going to be here for a few minutes playing with it. Let's see. Trying to figure out exactly how to make this. See, the first thing I have to do probably is bring up the software and turn it on. So let me do that. Figure out where I put the software for it. That's one of those things. You gotta be smarter than the software. Let's see here. It's probably put it in the first empty hole, which would be over here. Nope. Well, I have to figure out how to turn it on first. There we go. So I got it turned on. Let's see if it takes over. Okay. Okay, this is it. Let's see. Turn my light on. Get my camera started. Kick it, camera. Come on. So I can get this figured out. Wow. I'm pretty sure this is it. So let me try. Yeah, this is definitely it. Let's see. If I can figure out how to get the camera to turn on. I'll give you guys a nice little presentation if I can figure out how to get the camera to turn on. This is like the first time I've ever done this, so. Okay, here we go. Now it's on. There we go. There you go. Take a look at that. Isn't that kind of cool? Oh, it's plugged in. I guarantee it's plugged in. This is a 1960 double die reverse. The doubling is that little bit of extra split that you see at the very top of the letters in United. Now if I move this around, it should. Now see, this is the part that I'm having a little bit of trouble with, is that it's very, very clingy about how it moves. I just barely move the coin and boom. It ends up giving you a long time before it comes down from that. Let me see if I can take the resolution down on the live. Let's see if that helps us any. Okay, so the resolution on the live is down to its lowest level. Yeah, see, that's a lot better. Lot better. Here you go, I'll show you this coin. This one's going to be a cute one. There, it's this one right here. I also have to get a new mic. My microphone is too specifically directional, and I don't like that. Check that out. Yeah. Come on. There. Now it's not going to move. And see, with this, because this is one of those fancy microscopes, I can also do this. It takes me a little while to get into it, though. Let's see here. Exposure. Knock the exposure down. And then focus it. It'll take me some time to get used to this, but it works. It's nice. Oh yeah, definitely an RPM. This is 1945S, RPM number 6. It's also a double diobverse. I believe it's a doubled eyelid. Maybe not. Or maybe so. I don't know. Let's zoom in and find out. Yeah, it is. Double eyelid. Yep, right there. I'm going to get my exposure knocked back up. I got to figure out how to do this a little faster. But there you go. There's the doubled eyelid. And that it is, Scott. Very good. And go back down to the mint mark so you can see it again. That's another S punched halfway down. So you see the bottom curve of the second S poking down out of the bottom of the first S. As soon as I learn how to drive this monster, this thing's a beast. I'll show you one of the coins I'll have coming up for sale tomorrow. Hang on just a second. Okay, here we go. This will be up for sale tomorrow. It's 1910S, RPM number 2. This one's actually S over S north. The 45S was an S over S south. And this one is an S over S north. You use the direction that it takes for you to get from the whole mint mark to the partial mint mark. So you have to go north from the whole one to get to the partial one. So this is an S over S north. And here's something else I like about this. This is kind of cool. If I take this and go up to 100%, or maybe if I can go to like 300%, and then I can drag this up here, and I can show you real little tiny fine details. Of course, it's kind of pixelated just a little bit, but it won't be once I do this. And then go back up to there. I'm using all kinds of power, Farm Dog. Right now, this is at 400% of a 4100 pixel photo. So you can almost see dust mites crawling across the mint mark. That's actual size. Well, this is 20% right here. If I do 100%, this is actual size. This is the actual pixel size of the picture. But it's a nice coin. I can take you on a little tour of the coin, I believe. Yeah, see, it's going to give me all kinds of dancing weirdness because I got too much resolution. Knock my live back down to where it belongs. Now I'll be able to move around. So you can see your cheek has a little bit of wear on it. It's a little touch of wear. It's got a bit of a wood grain to the overall obverse and reverse there. And I can also do this. Watch. Do that. Which way did I go? Did I do something wrong? No, it's right. And do that. And then I can knock my exposure time back down. Give you more of a realistic look at the coin. But now we can see most of the coin. I'm going to take a look at the reverse. Does this jump around too much for you? You know, like if I'm moving it like this, does it... If I do this to change the lighting and stuff and look at things, does it jump too much for you? Because I don't like... So it jumps a little too much for you, Bill? This scope, it's an AM scope. It's a, I mean, it's a full, it's a fully fledged, non-digital stereo zoom microscope with an 18 megapixel camera in the trinocular lens hole. It's a full professional microscope. It's not something you're going to find easily. This microscope was it's a $1,700 microscope. Right, yeah, and see that, I mean, that's kind of what I had planned on doing, is like, you know, taking it like this and stopping, then like this and stopping, do like this and stop, and then flip it over and then look. Oh, hey, we've got an RPM. Look. Oh, what a nice RPM. Let me zoom in on that. So then I do like this so we can see it. And then I learn how to get the right direction in focus. Get it focused in. And then turn my exposure up a little bit so we can look at it. And oh, there we go. There's a nice RPM. Well, it is going to be a little bit shaky. And the reason it's going to be a little bit shaky is because there's nothing smooth about moving a 19 millimeter disc around underneath something at 100 times or 200 times normal power. It's going to be it's going to be a little bit jumpy. But given that I can get this much live out of it, I mean, I think this is actually pretty good. You think I should use this instead of that other microscope that I've been using? Are we willing to deal with that little bit of jumpiness so that I can use the other so I can use this instead of the other microscope? Because I mean, we can really get down and look at things way up close with really good focus. The only thing that's kind of a bear for me is that I have to change my camera exposure every time I zoom way in or way out, because it doesn't adjust automatically. But this is it's a regular microscope, and the lighting that I'm using, it's a $600 light box, so I've got about $2,200 worth of equipment here. So it don't come cheap. Nothing really good comes cheap. It looks better when I have it brighter. Well, you think I should have it up brighter? Let me try it. Let me bring my gain up a little bit. How about that? Is that better? Can I change the hue? Yes. Yeah, I can change the hue. Basically, here, I'll mess it up right now just to show you what I've got. Nope, that's the wrong one. Hang on. This is my software that I use to drive it. And so here I have like in my camera controls, I can come down here. I have exposure time, so I can change the exposure. And then I can change white balance. So there's color temperature. I can change the color temperature. The tint, the overall color tint. I can change the gain on it. Black balance, color adjustments, sampling. I can rotate it. I can flip it. So I can do a vertical flip on it. There's a lot of things I can do. Color temp is all I need. Okay. Well, I've got color temp. That's right here. So as I move it, you can tell me what you think is right. Should be, for the kind of light that I'm using halogen light, it should be around 5500. I kind of thought so until I started screwing with them. But, and then see, I can change the live view. The live view is 1228 right now, but I can change it to 4912. And that changes this so that when I go up here and I look at it at 100%, this is what I end up with. Here's 50%. That gives me a nice sharp picture. Yes, it will take images too. So if I pull the camera out like this and hit snap, it actually snaps a photograph. And so now if I go over here, this is my photo right here, and then this is still live. So if I move the coin around, maybe not. There we go. Yeah, if I move the coin around, the live changes, but the photo doesn't. So I'm not real sure about how to drive this yet. I'm not real good at it, but this is a photograph now. Yeah, I'm seeing pretty much exactly what I'm broadcasting. Yes, I have 60 megahertz settings. I haven't used them, but I do have it. It's dun 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 dun. Where is it? Sampling. No. No. It's somewhere in here. I thought it said sampling. No. Frame rate. There it is. No, that's not it. Ah, power frequency. So I should set it at 60 hertz. Use 60. Okay. What's that going to change? Let me get rid of this. Okay, now we're back to the live view. I'll need to change the live setting on the camera so that it won't jump around so badly. There we go. And I can bring it up to view it at 100% so I see all the pixels. And then I move it around. It'll jump a little bit, but it doesn't jump a whole lot. Oh, that's actually better? Okay. I don't know that I would have even noticed, actually, because I don't think I see the blink that you guys are seeing. For me, I mean, it is a little choppy, but that's just because I'm rebroadcasting a huge screen. And I've got a good computer. If I didn't have a computer this good, I wouldn't be able to do this much, I don't think. Okay, well, I'm glad that we've got something. I'm glad that we've got some. Yeah, I should have thought of that because NTSC is a 60, and I should have used 60 because my OBS broadcasting studio is set to 60, I do believe. Let's see my video settings. Yeah, set to 60. So that's what this is. And so what I did was I just brought it in to my OBS, and I bring it over here and zoom it in a little bit. And now I've got my camera set to be able to use it. The light has a refresh rate too. I don't know what that frequency would be, but I do know that I can turn the light up. If I turn the light up, I can turn the exposure control down on the camera, and maybe that'll help, because the light will actually give us, hang on a second. There. Maybe that'll actually help. I've got the actual light turned up more. This light is not part of the microscope. This light is a light box. It's an Echolite 150. It's a light box that is made for using with microscopes, but it does not come from the microscope. The microscope is not plugged in at all, because I don't like the lights that come with microscopes. In fact, I didn't even install the light on this one. No fluorescent here. But I also noticed that like this was a circulated coin. Oops. This is a circulated coin. Now I go back to an uncirculated coin. Let's see, what is this? It's 1960, I believe. I go back to an uncirculated coin. It's the lighting is just a little bit different, as is the focus for one reason or another. But this is what we would be doing more often than anything else, is going through uncirculated rolls. So let me grab one of the coins from today, because this is what I'll be doing anyway, is going through these and taking a look and trying to figure out what I'm doing with them. Here, I'll grab Shannon's die number 1 here, and we'll take a look at it under this scope. This is the very first one of these we found. Yeah, see, that's going to be considerably better than the other microscope, because now I can actually zoom into this just like that. And now I can change my exposure control a little bit. And we can see that RPM really well. It's not 100% sharp, but it can be. There we go. And so if I zoom back out, we can get it as far out as almost being able to see the whole coin. Of course, I have to change my exposure again. I can't do an automatic, well, maybe it does auto exposure. Yeah, but that's not good enough. Let me see. Let me move my exposure area out more. Bring the picture in. Focus. Focus, Chuck. Focus. There it is. So now, if I've got it set on auto exposure, let's see what it does. Make sure I'm setting it. Okay, I do have auto exposure on. So let's zoom in. Hey, well, that worked. That worked pretty well. Yeah, Chuck got his new scope. So now we can easily tell that it's a RPM. Of course, it bounces a lot when I'm trying to move it around. Let's see if I back out to about there, because this gives us as good as that other scope ever did. It doesn't bounce quite so badly. And I can also move my light. I can change the angles of my light. Zoom back in. I can do lighting like that, or I can do lighting like this. However I want it. The other scope did have a higher frame rate when it was in motion. Part of the problem with that, though, is that that scope's lighting and the way the lighting works, I don't see as well as I want to see when I'm doing my thing. This gives us a much higher resolution, but it's going to jump a lot when I move it around. Of course, this gives us enough resolution that we can see pretty much anything we ever wanted to see, but the problem is that we're losing focus because our optical focus is going to a digital dithering instead. So at 50%, it's probably about the best I could do with that huge frame size. But the problem with the huge frame size is it gives me a lot of jitter, and it doesn't reload quickly. It's because it has exceeded the capability of the computer, basically. And I don't blame it, because that's a lot. So I use the 1228 live shot, and that gives me pretty much what I need, because I can move it around pretty well. I'm glad I found that auto exposure, because that kind of helps keep everything in nice exposure. There's actually even the contaminant that started the spot on this. But that's that works for me. Let me put one of those die 3s in here now. I think this is one of them. Put it in there and we'll see what it looks like. I'm kind of questioning that idea of there being a third set of serifs on this. There's definitely a split upper and a split lower, but I'm kind of wondering about the third serif now. Because it was probably an artifact set up by the lighting. But you can see that second serif there now. The lower serif. This may not be the same die. It's not die number 2. This is the area where that die dot would be on die number 2. And it does broadcast live, which I think is kind of cool. But because it's an 18 megapixel camera, it kind of hugs a lot of resident memory in the computer. I'm not sure what's causing those artifacts either. What, try a coin inside of a slab? Okay. Let me get one out. Hang on just a second. There, go find one. That box full of them behind me. I just got these. I've never looked at them, so I don't even know exactly what's in here. But we can give it a shot. This one's in an NGC holder. 1955S. That's an RPM. RPM number 5, I think. It's got that bulge on the bottom of it. Yeah. This is an NGC MS66 red. You can see how much crap they let through for a 66. I don't think I would have called this a 66. Okay, so let's try another one. This one's what is this? 52S? 52S in 66 red. That's an RPM. And nicely split lower serif there. So that's an RPM. That's in a 66 red holder too. Just cause your coins are certified don't mean they're right. It just means they're certified. I say I just got a little bit out of focus. That means the coin's tilted a little bit inside the holder. Have to refocus. No big deal. Well, while we're at it, let's try PCGS. This is a PCGS. It's a 09 VDB. It is a PCGS MS64 red. So let's take a look at the PCGS 64 red. That's really clear considering it's going through a slab, huh? What do you think? Very clear images through a slab. So given this is an 09S or an 09 VDB, it's not a double die obverse. Let's check it for the double die reverse. See if it happens to be a DDR. Have to refocus here. Not a DDR though. A DDR would show on the top of the E of 1 and up into the pluribus unum. This one's a normal one. Let's try this other one. Got another one here. It's a 64 red. It's probably from the same roll. This is a different coin. No doubling there. Let's check out this side. It's a little spottier than the other one. That is definitely an 09 VDB. Let's take a look at the VDB. Let's just see how nice it can look. Where is it? There it is. That's the VDB. Oh, while we're at it, let's try proof coins. Here is a 1955. It's a 55 in proof 68. Proof 68 red. So let's see what we end up with here. That's actually not bad at all. That's actually pretty good. Does a very good job of controlling glare. I like that. The whole field lightens back up when you're not in an area that has shine. When you're in an area with shine, it kind of takes care of everything for you. Yeah, really nice for being in a slab, right? Okay, let's flip this one over. Take a look at the reverse. Have to refocus a little bit. Not going to get zoom autofocus. Just not going to happen. not on a regular microscope. You lose your autofocus, but you gain so much in quality. Where are we going? There we go. Trying to get it focused right. Well, we got nothing doubled on this coin. I don't have a 56 proof, but here's a 57. This is this is a 56. It's a 56 in proof 68. Not the big DDO. We found those in rolls. So it's not the big DDO. We'll see if it could be the big DDR. So I've never looked at these coins, so I have no idea. Oop, what happened? Oh, that was the holder. Okay, here we go. Not a double die reverse either. No hub doubling on the reverse. Yeah. Oh, nothing there. 57 could give us something. Not there. 57's got a pretty nice class 6 obverse. I think it handles it really nicely too. Of course, I have to autofocus between the obverse and the reverse because they're different distances from the optics. This is not a double die either. Alright, so what about the 58? Also a proof 68. This one's a little bit different in distance, so I have to focus it again. I think it's a minor double die. Well, I'm going to caveat that with a maybe. Obviously not enough to really concern ourselves with, but if it is, then it's really minor. Nice toy, huh? Is that on the slab or in the slab? It was on the slab. There's a spot on a 68. It's got spots. I don't like spots. No, he doesn't have another scope for sale. His other scope is already spoken for. I told someone I was going to turn it into the Smithsonian so they could display it in the room dedicated to me when I'm dead. He believed me for a couple seconds. This is a 59. See you around, Farm Dog. I appreciate you coming by and helping me out here. Fun stuff to do. Let me 59. Here's a 60 small date. Here's a small date. That's a proof 68. Here, let me back it out. And this one's tilted in the holder because I have to refocus it. Go back over here, I'll have to refocus it again. Yep. Coin's not sitting straight in the holder. Thank you, NGC. Did a great job. Awesome job. I didn't have anything on it. Let's try one of the more common dates to have something on it. Here's a 63. I've got a whole run. Proof 68 NGC. I'll eventually put these up for sale, but for right now I'm just going to play with them for a little while. Not seeing anything there. I've been finding all the minute details for many years. Now it's just easier. Now I can do it without ever looking through the scope. I'm looking at my computer screen. I could be looking through the scope. It does give me that advantage of being able to use a camera plus look through the microscope at the same time. But I don't have to. And what I don't have to do, I don't do. There we go. Well, we got nothing on this one. Okay, 64. Last shot. These only go up to 64. I've got a 64 here. Do I have a proper double die nearby? I do. Actually, I got plenty of them nearby. Let me zoom this out so we can get like a decent, relatively normal view of it. And no double die obverse. Okay. Flip it over and look at the reverse. This one could actually be a double die because 64 is kind of common for double dies. Didn't look like I got so lucky on this one though. No hub doubling. No hub doubling, Dr. Jones. Peek at a real double die. You want to see a real double die? I'll show you a real double die. Hang on just a second. Let me think of it. I do have. What did I do with that roll? Here we go. This one, it's a minor double die, but it's going to be through a 2x2. say the 2x2 here with the little staples. No, focus that direction, Chuck. Go that way. There we go. There's the staple. So this is a proof coin. It's a double die. Not the obverse though, just on the reverse. I was just seeing how it looks through the plastic of a 2x2. It does pretty well through the plastic of a 2x2. You want to look? You're not on camera. You can come look.
Wow.
And let me zoom back in so I can see it better if it's there. This may not be. See ya. Well, this is a double die. You can see it there in the FG. You see the splits. I have a lot of the 64 double dies. If you look there, you can see splits in those serifs. Hang on just a second. There. Now you can see them. That is a double die. Right there. Now I back out on it just a little bit. Get a little bit easier to see them. Wow, through the plastic of a 2x2. As you can see it on the end of one. Well, you want to see a DDR number 1? I got one around here somewhere, but I've got hundreds of double dies sitting here. Yeah, you could take a video for eBay on something like this, I'm sure. Let me see. This is a proof double die, but I don't know which one. Now the plastic of the 2x2 is getting in the way a little bit. Well, again, you can see that there's splits in those little serifs. I never said it was obvious or real nice. I just said it is. Let's see. I got a whole pile of this stuff. Let's see if my other pile has a die number 1 in it. I got one around here. I know I do, but there's a 64. Oh, this one ought to be nice. This one's in a plastic flip, so get it focused. Yeah, there you go. Look at those splits. You see them at the corner of the RICA there. Let's go over this way. There. Now you can see them. This is it's in a flip, so the flip is scratched. There you go. That's a double die. Oh, CVS. We're playing with my new toy. Let's see. It wasn't in here. I may or may not find one today. Here, this one's a double die. This one should be a pretty nice one. Yeah. There you go. That's a nice double die. You see it right there on the A? You can see it on the upper part of the C. You can see it at the top of the R and the I. And let's go back around this way. Now, these initials are very doubled. That one's a nice double die. There's your T of United, or a T of Cent, I mean, sorry. I don't know where I came up with that. That's pretty nice. It stays with my exposure. I don't have to mess with that exposure control anymore. Kind of loses its strength as it gets over to this side of the coin. And it just kind of poofs out altogether. Then you come back over here, and you'll start seeing it again when we get to the F of. You can see it right there on the corner of the F. And then America shows it pretty well. Nice little proof. I got 5 or 6 of those. I don't know if I'm going to find that right now, because I don't want to waste too much time looking for it. And well, it's not exactly popping itself out at me. Let's see here. No, this isn't it. That's not it. I got a whole nother pile of these somewhere. I got lots of 1964 double dies. So I got a pile of them. Here's one marked die number 94. That means there's 93 other ones. Nope, can't find it right now. I thought I had it. Pond water. Say what? Here's your real life double die. This isn't a 64. It's a 1950. Nope, turn it the other way, Chuck. This way. Look at the bottom of the BERTY. That's 1950 DDO number 1. And it doesn't show on the date. It just shows over here. Thought that was kind of cool. This is a 42S marked as a double die reverse. Oh, and it is. It's class 6. Just way extra thick. This one doesn't have a die number yet. I still have to photograph it and assign a die number to it. But that's a pretty nice class 6 double die reverse. Oh, still can't find that 64 double die reverse number 1. I wanted to show it to you. You have an opportunity to see one. Got a few of them. I just don't know where they are right now. That doesn't surprise me a whole lot. Not being able to locate something right off the bat. Oh, here's something. Hang on. This ought to look pretty cool. A preview of a couple of the coins in Tuesday's auction. I can do that. Here, let's look at this one first. This one should be really cool. Oh yeah. Sweet. Nice big old fat Class 6 double die. You guys will like what this is on. Yeah, that's pretty. That's real pretty. Check this out. This is what it is. (1938S). How you liking that, boys and girls? Yeah, it's going to keep me busy. Okay, so there's that. That's a 38S DDR2, I think. Not sure. Haven't really been through this. This is a BU roll. I haven't really been through it yet. That was a top coin. Let's see. Some of the stuff in tomorrow's sale. Let's see what I can do for you here. Well, first of all, I need to get the 1910 back in its place. There we go. And let's see. This is one of the coins that'll be up for sale. It's not really all that cute, but it's rare because you don't find these very often. It's a 1971S. There's a clip. Here, let me get this focused. There's a clip. There's a clip. There's a clip. 3 clips. 1971S with 3 clips. Triple clip. And it's got that scrape mark on it. I think that was probably because it got stuck in a counting machine or something. And it had to be pried out of the counting machine. Still nice, though. Let's see. Something else. This one's going to be up for sale. (1938S) RPM number 2. Yeah, these are all going to be for sale tomorrow. They're going to be up for sale in the auction coming tomorrow. Check this one out. Really nice 1941 Lincoln, huh? It's pretty, right? Has a little error. You don't see uncirculated errors like this from the 40s very often. Here's another one. We got this 1968D. Pretty nice uncirculated coin. Oops. Somebody messed up. Oops. Somebody messed up. That's got 2 clips. That's a double clip. Yeah. Here's a neat one. Hey, by all appearances, this is a normal coin on the obverse here. You see that it's kind of an AU-ish looking coin. Now, let's take a look at the reverse. Whoops. Got struck through something. That's kind of big. That's a big struck through something. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Another one. Let me see. Let me think. I don't have a whole lot of die varieties here. Let's see if this one is. One of these is. No, not this one. The colors don't show up really well in this view. Here, if I do that, they might show up a little bit better. You can see some of it. This coin's got a lot of really nice color. Let's see. And it's not that one. Is it? Yeah, probably this one. One of the toned 1960D Lincoln scents that I have going up tomorrow is a really nice repunch mint mark. Here's a cool one for you. Okay. You can barely read the date there. Most of In God We Trust is gone. Looks like a lot of wear on his head. Looks like a lot of wear pretty much everywhere. What's he got this thing up there for? Well, take a look at this side. Folks, this is a case of where a planchet split in half before it was struck. So this was a coin struck on half a planchet. It's half thick. This thing only weighs 1.7 grams. The Lincoln Cent's supposed to weigh 3.1. That was way underweight. Is this it? Yeah, there we go. Check this out. It's a little spotty, but it's got a lot of color. A lot of really nice color. And then, looky down there. See that mint mark? Nice little RPM there. Yeah. I do believe this is RPM number 3. I'll have to look at it before I go to sell it. I'll have to look it up. But this one's got a lot of nice toning on it. The photograph that I took with my regular camera shows it really nicely. This microscope doesn't show color very well. Here's another one that I'll be selling. Let's see. All these coins will be available at auction tomorrow. There's a 1942D RPM number 3. You get it lighted just right, and then I'll zoom in on it for you. There you go. RPM number 3. It's a D over D South. Actually pretty nice. I like it anyway. That means you're in trouble if you want to buy it. No, it doesn't. I sell things at a very good price. Or at least I start them at a pretty good price. You guys end up paying what you pay because you bid on it, but... What was this one? Here, let me zoom out on it. Zoom out and I'll be able to figure out what it is. It's a 56. Aha! Looky there. Yeah, it looks like an earthquake. Yeah, looks like an earthquake happened here. That die is just about exploded. I like the rainbow coins too, and I've got some of them coming up tomorrow, but they just don't show really well here. This one is really cool. It probably won't show up well though. Nope. The color just doesn't show very good on these. This one's got a lot of nice color right around the outside edge. And this one is a 1913. Looking at the reverse. Come on, camera. Yeah, the colors just don't show up on this. I'm gonna see the actual color on that. No, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, these are the wrong pictures. Here we go. Took me a little while to find it, but this is what this 1913 actually looks like. Yeah, and then that's a 1918 I got coming up, 29S. This one's underweight. This one's underweight by a full gram. Let's see. There's that 47D. Nice struck through die cap. I think it's a 1960 or a 61. Can't really tell though. The 18. A beautiful 39D there. Could be a 64. This 38S here, this is a RPM number 3. This has got a buy on a 1955D. It's got a buy die break on there. You can see it right there. Right there. Let's see. 1919 Woody. What do you do a Woody? There's a Woody. There's that 1910S. There's the 42D I showed you. That's the 56 with the broken head. There's a 46. I got die cracks coming in here. And you got a die crack coming in over here, and it goes over here. So this is almost a split die. Working on a split die. Split dies are kind of rare. There's another one struck through a die cap, and then it was circulated. Here's your 71S triple clip. There's the RPM 3. So I told you it was nice and colorful. You just can't see it under that scope. Beautiful 38D. 46 with a clip. There's the 41 with a clip. There's your underweight coin. That's half a planchet. Don't know what happened to the other half. Maybe it got struck too. It's a 1959 though. It's obviously a 59. There's only 1 year in the 50s that had a memorial on the reverse. There's your 68D double clip. There's a 1911S that I got going cheap. 1911S is one of the semi-key dates. There's one with some nice toning on the reverse. Nice toning on the obverse. There's a clip. Nice toning on the obverse again. Pretty nice looking 1941. It's a 46S with a lot of striping on it. It's woody. It's a toned woody. 1920D. There's a 38S RPM. There's another one. It's the same RPM, just a little bit lower condition. 39S with some striking color on it. And a 43P, 43D, and 43S. All of them uncirculated. So that's the stuff I got running tomorrow. There's going to be 38 lots of coins, and then we're going to do roll reveals. It will be 1960 day. That's for sure. Part of it, anyway. We've also got the reveal coming up tomorrow. Got a reveal on 1954D tomorrow. Another roll I got from the same source as today's roll. Came from my buddy over in Arkansas. I'm kind of excited about my new microscope and how it works. That's going to turn out pretty nice. So I get this back in its place. I think I'm going to take off and try to go to bed and get some sleep. But I appreciate everyone coming today. And like I said, we have another reveal tomorrow. The reveal is going to be right before the auction tomorrow. It's going to be, I believe I scheduled it at 6 p.m. for the reveal, and then 5 or 6 p.m. for the reveal, and then 8 p.m. for the auction. So I appreciate you guys showing up. You guys have a great night. And I think I'm going to take out of here. So I don't even know what that is. Huh. It's weird. Turn that on. No, that's not the one I want to move. That's the one I want to move. Alright, and shut this down. You guys have a great night, okay? And I'll talk to you tomorrow.